Hey guys, it's Peter Day. Welcome back to the second episode of this podcast series. In this episode, I'm going to talk about goal setting, and not in any kind of generic way, but more practically, because the goals are very important. I mean, if you don't have at least some type of goal, it could just be very difficult to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish in business because you're just kind of aimlessly going about doing stuff, but there's not any kind of clear vision. So I want to talk about how we got started and how we started setting goals in our business. I mean, I remember when we first got started, we failed for a long time. I mean, I have to admit, I mean, when we originally got started in 2000 and like 10 or 11, which was about 12 years ago, I mean, I spent literally probably 3 or 4 years just failing and learning and failing and learning and basically we just needed to learn how to do internet marketing and affiliate marketing. I mean, I remember, by year 2 or 3, every dollar that we made, we were just spending on some kind of course or kind of re-education. I remember it was one of those first couple of years, but it's like I think we actually did manage to make, like $30,000 or something in a year of profit. And I think we literally invested the entire 30K back into courses. We bought a Facebook course and a Bing search course, a native ads course. We also invested in training too. I think I spent about $20,000 on some other kind of higher ticket coaching stuff. So we were in this pattern a little bit in the beginning of our career, where we were just reinvesting all of the money we were earning back into training. And we were able to do that because we were so young that we really didn't have any financial responsibilities. I mean, I was about 20 years old in college, 21, and my brother was a little bit younger. So we were both in college and we were just building our business out of the dorm rooms basically. So we had very little, in fact no financial responsibility at all. I mean, my parents were paying for the rent. I think I was personally responsible for a small car loan of like $200 or something at the time. So we were in this position where we were able to occur incur these failures and then learn from them and fall on our face and try it again and try it again and try it again. And we didn't start seeing any kind of success until we got personally coached. I mean, it was about 5 years into this process, we were starting to see some results. Trust me, we were definitely learning a lot because we were spending all this money on coaching and courses and education. We were learning tremendously on how to actually do everything: Facebook ads, native ads. We even took a course on how to set up a blog and how to do SEO. We took courses on just all the different search networks: Bing, Google search. And one of our first successes was when Tyler was on Facebook. My brother Tyler, he was on Facebook and he saw someone on Facebook kind of bragging about how much money they were earning in affiliate marketing. And the person was posting screenshots of their Max Bounty account. Max Bounty is just a CPA type of affiliate network that is a very popular one. But this person was posting screenshots like, I made $500 today, I made $300 yesterday, I had a record $700 day. They were posting these screenshots on their Facebook, and it kind of really caught our attention because this guy seemed like a normal guy. I mean, he was young like us, maybe a little bit older, but he was probably 24 years old when we were 20, 21, and he was getting this kind of success with affiliate marketing. So, one of our biggest breakthroughs early on is that my brother reached out to him on Facebook, just sent him a Facebook message, and we were able to convince him to coach us on what he was doing. We paid $5,000 for a coaching, and this coaching was very instrumental towards our business because what happened in this coaching is this guy showed us the exact type of campaigns that he was running. Literally, he showed us the exact offer. He was running 2 or 3 offers. He showed us the exact ones. He showed us where to get the offers. He actually introduced us to the networks and the advertisers that had the offers. He also showed us the exact landing page he was using. He showed us exactly how he was running his Facebook ads. He showed us his Facebook fan page. He showed us exactly how he was targeting things. He was showing us how he did email marketing on the back end. He literally showed us exactly what he was doing. And I'm telling you, it was this moment that was changed our entire lives. I have to say. I mean, if we didn't get this coaching, I'm sure we would have continued persisting in this affiliate stuff, and I'm sure we would have found success in some other way, in some other form. But this particular coaching changed the entire course of our lives in terms of what we're doing now, in terms of career and success and just making a living and everything. This one coaching that we spent $5,000 on, because what happened was we took this coaching and it was literally like plug and play. I would say within 2 weeks, we were actually starting to see some of the same results that he was showing in the screenshots. I mean, it was incredible. My brother and I went from struggling, pretty much failing for 3 or 4 years trying to learn and figure out affiliate marketing, to suddenly having these screenshots as well. I mean, we were logging into our Max Bounty account, and it was $300 a day, $500 a day, $700 a day. And my brother and I were looking at each other like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. The fact that we can go from not even succeeding at all to producing the same numbers that this other guy has been producing. So I remember when we first started this entire business stuff, I mean, it was our goal. We did have a goal, going back to the topics of the goals. I mean, we had a goal to produce $500 a day. I guess of profit. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to be honest. I'm not even sure that we even clarified the goal very much at the time. It could have even been just $500 a day of just pure commissions, whether the profit was 500 or not. But I believe it was just based off of revenue at the time. We just had a goal to get 500 a day. We said, hey, if this guy that coached us was able to get $500 a day, maybe $700 a day on a good day. I remember talking to my brother and we said, okay, our goal is $500 a day. Like, that's our goal. If we're able to accomplish that, we're crushing it. And what's so interesting is after getting this coaching, we literally hit the $500 a day within 4 weeks. I mean, it was incredible. And we started leveraging credit cards to get our success because we had no money. I mean, I told you in the previous podcast, if you didn't listen to podcast number 1, just go to the YouTube channel and check out podcast number 1. We talk about a lot of different topics in that podcast. But I told the story in that first podcast how we got started was my brother and I got a loan from our mom. Our mom loaned us $2,000, okay? Because we were showing some success with the internet marketing stuff. We were starting to get some profits and we had no money. I mean, literally no money. I think I had like $1,000 and my brother had like $500. We literally started this whole entire venture with almost no money to our name. And we went to our mom and we said, listen, we're seeing profitability on some of these campaigns. We think that if you write us a check for $2,000, we're going to be able to turn this 2,000 into something. And thankfully, I mean, oh my goodness, do we appreciate what she did, because she gave us the $2,000. She trusted in what we were doing, and I mean, it's really incredible when you think back on it, because she could have said no, she could have said I'm skeptical, she could have had a million excuses, and she could have just not done it. Like many moms would maybe just not do that. But our mom gave us the $2,000. We told her we'll pay you back when we can. I mean, we didn't even have a time frame on when we could even pay her back, but we got that check for $2,000, and we were able to turn that $2,000 into $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. And then what we did was we started putting a lot of our ad spend on credit cards. So we opened up credit cards with Bank of America and Amex. I also got one with Capital One. We started opening up a lot of different cards. And what we learned is, well, a credit card generally comes with a $20,000 spend limit or $50,000 spend limit, sometimes even more. There's Amex cards you can get these days that have a virtually uncapped spend limit as long as you're paying it off effectively. And what we realized is that we were able to use other people's money, aka the credit cards, to build our business. So what we did was we started off with that $2,000 loan from our mom. We started using that as seed money in a sense to start our business, but then we started racking up spend on the credit cards. And suddenly, what the credit cards did was the credit cards gave us spending power that wasn't there before. I mean, we went from having $2,000 to our name to suddenly having access to $20,000 on the Capital One, $100,000 or so on the Amex, 50K credit limit on the Bank of America card. We went from having no money to just having access to a couple $100,000 of money on these credit cards. So what we did was we started really digging into our campaign and scaling our campaign. And what we've always been a fan of in our businesses is reverse engineering and also improving on things. What we were thinking to ourselves is that, okay, this guy that coached us, he's been pretty good. He's been seeing pretty good numbers, but we think we can do this better. We've always had this thought. We've always had this mindset, like we can definitely just do it better. I mean, we could just do it better because what he's doing is not that fancy. It's not that special. He's also kind of lazy. I mean, what set my brother and I apart a lot of times is we've always usually just been harder working than a lot of people. We've just put in more hours. We've put in more time. We've been more disciplined and devoted. And we've usually been able to outperform almost everyone just because of how hard we've been working. So we were looking at what this guy was doing, and we're saying, okay, he's doing the $500 a day, the $700 a day, and it's good, but we can probably do so much more because this guy is really sort of lazy. He's really just running this one ad, he's running this one campaign. He's really not thinking outside of the box here. He's not that innovative. He's not really testing much stuff. He's not even really trying to improve it. So what we did was we took the campaign that started to earn us the $500 a day, and we really made some major improvements. We put some different offers on the back end. This was just a lead generation campaign where it was Facebook ads just linking out to a lead gen site. We started putting upsells, downsells, cross sells. We implemented an entire back end of email marketing where the leads came in and we started emailing the leads. And essentially what we were able to do is we were able to quickly surpass the teacher. If you know what I mean, like the student surpassing the teacher, we were able to start producing ourselves like $1,000 days or $2,000 days of revenue when he was still stuck at 500. And then my brother and I were talking, we're like, you know what, well, let's kind of keep this to ourselves because, I mean, we're happy that the guy taught us these strategies, but I mean, I don't really want to go to him and show him what we're doing now because it's just like if he were to copy those things, then, I mean, he could then be competing with us on our new kind of innovative strategy that we developed by improving on his strategy. So we kind of kept it to ourselves. And we ended up doing a little bit of additional follow-up coaching with this guy just for tips and strategies. And but for the most part, we kept things to ourselves. And then what we were able to do was we were able to turn this lead generation campaign into a really drastic campaign. I mean, within a couple of years, we had a record day where we earned $16,000 in a day. And I think that's when we started realizing, oh my goodness, this is a really big thing. This internet marketing stuff, this affiliate marketing stuff is really, really big. If basically one campaign, and the vertical was actually in the real estate niche too. It was really interesting vertical. There's this real estate thing, and a lot of the offers we were promoting on the email and on the back end and the cross sells were these mortgage offers. So people were opting in, and then we were sending them to different mortgage purchase offers and things like that. Very interesting campaign, but that's when I think we realized how big this could be because we started doing. We literally had a $16,000 day, and we were basically like, oh my goodness, this is just absolutely massive. I mean, one campaign, one vertical, one thing, $16,000 day. I mean, this is just nuts. And the fact that this could be done from the ground up with two savvy kids in college, I mean, this is just an incredible opportunity. Obviously, there were some aspects of the right place at the right time with the coaching and different things like that, but you know, you have to take advantage of the situations is the best way to describe it. If you feel like you can get coaching from someone, and again, this is not a plug for coaching. Tyler and I used to coach people a couple of years ago. We kind of shut that down because we've been too busy to coach. So this whole thing, by the way, is not any kind of pitch or plug for us coaching you. So don't take that the wrong way. But if you get an opportunity to get trained by someone, and there's an opportunity, it's like you got to take advantage of it. It's almost that saying, like if someone's knocking on the door, you got to open the door, right? And that's what we think a lot in our business. If there's an opportunity, you really need to seize that opportunity, and you need to take advantage of it. And what I can tell you is that the moment that $16,000 day happened, it really changed everything, because then it started just shifting our entire thinking. I mean, we went from thinking $500 a day was some incredible astronomical number. And then when we started doing $1,000 or $2,000 a day, we're like, oh yeah, we're crushing it. We're doing so well. Perhaps we got a little bit cocky even. But then when the $16,000 day came, it's a whole different story. I mean, we're just looking at each other like, oh my goodness, this is just kind of ballistic. I mean, this is really crazy. I mean, what if we could do 20,000 instead of 16? Or what if we could produce 40,000 in a day instead of 16? I mean, this is really serious. So I believe this really was around that time that we started to take our business so much more seriously, and we started to set bigger goals for ourselves. So when it comes to setting goals, I really believe you have to have some kind of goal. Like when we first started, our goal was the $500 a day. The $500 a day was our goal, right? And then as soon as we hit the 500, our goal definitely became the $2,000 a day. That was kind of the next step. Now, what I recommend doing with these goals is making sure that the goals are definitely lofty, but realistically attainable. And when you're setting goals, what you should be doing is you should actually be doing two things. You should be setting what the goal itself is, and then you should also be setting a time frame for the goal to occur. And I think where we've actually kind of continuously have messed this up ourselves is not doing the time frame. In our business right now, we have a goal to do over $100 million a year of revenue. We've actually had this goal for the last couple of years, and we've been making progress towards that goal. I mean, I think 2021 was like $20 million of revenue. 2022, we had a big leap where it leaped up to 50 million. I think that this year is pacing for over 70 million. We're getting towards this goal. I mean, we're making progress, but I think that a mistake we've still personally been making in our business has been to not actually be setting a time frame on this goal. Because if you have the goal without the time frame, that's good. I mean, it's really a good start, because it's better than not having any kind of goals at all. But I feel like that's what we've kind of been like in the last couple of years, really, is we've kind of had the goal without the time frame. And I think what could really set things on fire for us is putting a time frame behind that goal, saying, okay, we want to be doing over $100 million per year of revenue, and we're going to specifically accomplish that in 2024 or by 2025, whatever the time frame is. I really believe that by putting a time frame behind it, what it's going to do is it's going to just force you to take that goal more seriously, and it's going to add more urgency behind the goal. If you don't have the time frame, it's more lackadaisical. It's okay, we'll hit the goal, but maybe it happens this year, maybe it doesn't, maybe we'll hit it in 8 years or 7 years. It's not the same as having the time frame. So what I recommend doing is setting these lofty goals, but the goals have to be attainable. Okay, so I have to. Okay, This is an interesting breakdown of my thinking. We didn't always have the $100 million or more goal of revenue. We absolutely didn't. I mean, when we were starting to see, even when we had the $16,000 day many years ago, I think that was at least 7 years ago at this point, but when we had that big day, it was not crossing our mind. that we would do over 100 million in a year. Absolutely not. I mean, that was just unfathomable at the time. It was just we couldn't see a pathway there. It wasn't really clear vision of how we would do that. But what I recommend doing and what we did was set goals that are attainable but lofty. So, for example, if you just do the math on it, a 16, let's just round it up to a $20,000 day, $20,000 day times 30 days a month is what is that? It's 600 grand a month times 12 months. It's like a 7 million. It's like 7 million, $8 million a year kind of business. So it wasn't until we started hitting, I think, around 20 million in a year where we realistically set that goal of we're going to do over 100 million per year in revenue. Because for us to set that goal years back, it would have just been a little bit unrealistic for where we were at the time. It would have been just a little bit hard to picture. There's not much point of having the goal that's unrealistic or unfathomable. I mean, let's say you're just starting off in affiliate marketing and you just set some ridiculous goal like I'm going to have $1 billion a year company in 2 years. Sure, you can write that down on paper, you can put a timeline on it, but the chances of you hitting that, in my opinion, would be very slim if it was not done incrementally. I mean, what I would do if you're starting off in this business and you're just starting off in affiliate marketing, I would set a goal that's really, really realistic. So, for example, and it's also practical for our industry here too of affiliate stuff and internet marketing. This could apply, by the way, to other businesses or industries. I would make a daily goal. It's more, it's actually, in my opinion, it breaks it down more practically. So, instead of telling yourself, I'm going to do $20 million in a year, figure out what that is on a daily basis. I think it's something like 70 grand a day of commissions or something. You could do the math on it, but I would set a daily goal. If you're first getting started and you're making zero money, what I would personally do is I would set maybe a similar goal to what Tyler and I did, which is $500 a day. I think getting to $500 a day is a first step in affiliate marketing. Once you're at $500 a day, I would probably set the next goal to about $1,000 a day of commissions, revenue. I'm talking about rev. Obviously, there needs to be profitability on that revenue, or it's probably pretty pointless. We've always been setting goals based off of revenue. For some reason, it's just been kind of the way we've been doing it. But the way we look at it is if we're setting the goals off of revenue, there's always going to be, we're not going to run up a lot of revenue without profitability. So it's been a perfectly fine way for us to set goals. But I would set your goal if you're first getting started, set it at $500 a day as your first big milestone, big goal in your business. Once that's hit, raise it to $1,000 a day as your next goal. Once that's hit, raise it to $2,000 a day as your next goal. Let's say you start hitting $2,000 a day of revenue for your next goal, maybe bump it up to $4,000 a day for your next goal, and then start raising this goal incrementally. Again, it is not very helpful for yourself if you just make the goal very, very, very big and unattainable. If you're getting started and you've never made money online before, and you have this kind of ridiculous goal of earning $25,000 per day, but you've never made a dime online, it's just kind of actually, it could be counterproductive. That kind of goal could be discouraging because you write it down, I'm going to earn 25 grand a day and this is going to happen in the next 3 years. You put a time frame behind it, you write it down, and then it's kind of, I don't want to say you can't do it, but it could be kind of discouraging or depressing or something like this completely unrealistic, depressing, unattainable thing, if you know what I mean. So just make sure that you're focusing just heavily on those, just making sure the goals are attainable and making sure that they're realistic in your business. So a few action items that I have from this podcast is if you don't have specific goals, make sure to think about them, but don't make them too easy as well. The goals have to be a fine line of lofty yet attainable. Lofty yet realistic. I mean, when we did $20 million 2 years ago, that's when we really set the goal of doing over $100 million a year, because the way we looked at it is if we were able to do 20, the 100 million is not that far off. We would just have to figure out how to do a 5x at minimum of just what we just did. It's not that nuts. It might sound nuts to some people, but it's not that nuts. If you're already doing 20 million and you just need to figure out how to just increase that by fivefold, is not that crazy. But look, even with us right now, okay, our goal still is to do over this 100 million a year. I think a big takeaway item for even myself on this podcast is to set a time frame behind that. We haven't had a clear time frame, and I think just my brother and I hunkering down and setting a very clear time frame, probably within 3 years at most, maybe within a 2 or 3 year time frame or something. So it's lofty but attainable. But setting those goals that have a clear time frame, and then as soon as you hit the goal, you're going to want to set the goal higher and different. So, for example, once we eventually hit over the 100 million in revenue, my brother and I, in a year, we'll probably set the next goal to do probably over 150 million in a year. Okay, and the reason why is because let's just think about it. I mean, once a company, especially in internet marketing, like agency style business, affiliate marketing, I mean, there's not that many companies that are actually doing like billions and billions of dollars a year in affiliate internet marketing kind of agency stuff. So that's no excuse, but at the same time, we just want to be realistic with those goals. I mean, is it realistic for us to do $100 million per year and then think that the next year we're actually going to do 200 million instead of 100 million? It's possible, but it would require something extremely lofty or perhaps even something extremely different to get there. Because think about it, if it took us 10 to 12 years or more to get to a business that does over $100 million a year, why would we think it's just going to turn into $200 million a year in just a single year? See what I mean? It could be potentially unrealistic. So I would set the goals, hit the goals, and then specifically make the goal higher so it's still lofty. I mean, even going from 100 million plus a year to 150 million a year, that's still pretty lofty. I mean, we're talking about many millions. We're talking about having to definitely think outside of the box in order to accomplish that. I don't think you're going to be able to do the exact same things you did to get there. You might have to implement new things, additional things, different things. I mean, it's going to have to be new, different, horizontal scaling, vertical scaling. I mean, there's going to have to be a lot that happens differently in order to jump up to those kind of numbers. And if you're constantly doing this strategy of setting a goal, writing it down, there's something about writing it down. I mean, all these guys teach that thing, write down the goal, but I actually agree with them. I don't know why, but when you write it down, it just kind of solidifies it, perhaps. And I would just set the goals, write them down, put a time frame behind them, and then once you hit the goal, raise it to the next goal and the next goal and the next goal. And that's the best thing to do for goal setting. And you can do this no matter what kind of business you have. Let's say you're a media buyer or an affiliate marketer, and let's say you've been very good at producing $10,000 per day of revenue media buying. Let's just say you've been really good at that and you've been really comfortable at doing that. Maybe the next goal for you is to figure out how to do over $30,000 a day, like very consistently and regularly in media buying, maybe going from 10,000 a day to 30,000 or more a day. Is a good leap there. And then let's say you start hitting $30,000 per day of commissions media buying. Maybe your next goal is to figure out how to get over $60,000 a day. And then suddenly you're probably going to have to start thinking pretty differently then, because that's going to require something more significant, right? Just going from 10,000 a day to 30,000 a day is maybe not that hard. It only requires a handful of things. You can just put the pedal to the metal on a few things, scale a few things. It's not that nuts. But going from 30,000 a day to 60,000 a day in my opinion, has been a bigger leap. And then it's just good to have these goals. So I would really recommend these goals in whatever you're doing. I mean, whether you own your own business or not, you should still have goals. I mean, even if you're, let's say you're a salesperson and you are working for a company. I love sales. If I wasn't running Optimize to Convert and I wasn't the co-founder and CEO of Optimize, I would perhaps be a salesperson or something for a company or doing something in sales, perhaps in some way, because I just love sales. I think salespeople are great. I think selling's great. But let's say you're a salesperson and you just have a sales job. You could be doing this same kind of goal setting with your job. I mean, you could focus on hitting this type of commissions per month, and then this type of commissions per month, and then that type of commissions per month, incrementally raising them as you hit them, setting time frames. Next thing you know, you could be the best salesperson in your organization. So this doesn't only apply to internet marketing or owning your own business. This can apply to anything you do, even if you're working for another company. So focus on these goals. The key takeaway here, though, is to make the goals realistic, write them down, and put the time frame behind them. And then once you hit them, be incrementally raising them. And then you're going to look back on your business years later, and you're going to say, wow, I had that goal of $500 a day. And then it actually happened. And then, I set that next goal of the $2,000 a day. And oh my goodness, it happened. It wasn't easy. There was some sleepless nights. I had to work like 7 days a week to get there. And I didn't take a vacation for 4 years. But oh my goodness, it happened. And wow, it's kind of incredible that it happened. And then it's this progression, right? And I'm not saying it's always going to be that hard or that hectic, but what I've learned is in business, sometimes we have had to take the extra step and the extra mile to set ourselves apart and to be ahead of the curve and to be ahead of other people. I mean, I remember when we first started seeing success, we didn't have an accounting person 6 years ago or 7 years ago. We didn't have any accounting person. I personally was the accounting person. I was doing sales. I was running the ads. I was also the accounting person. I was the one physically sending the wires to our employees. I was running the books. I was doing practically everything. And you know what? It was a big sacrifice, but looking back on it, I'm not sure how I would have done it differently. We didn't have much choice. We didn't have that much excess money. We were starting this from the ground up. Sometimes there has been a sacrifice in order to have success. So guys, I hope this found immense value. Do me a favor, share this podcast with a few people you know. Send this to a few buddies in the industry, in your industry, because this is good stuff. This could really help your business. It can help other people. So just share the link, this YouTube link, just share it around, send it to a friend or two, a fellow entrepreneur, and subscribe to the channel. When you press subscribe, what it does is it notifies you right away when the new podcasts come, the second they get uploaded, so you don't miss them. So press the subscribe button. We promise to never spam. We only provide the value. So subscribe, like, and we'll talk in a bit. Thanks.